Last week, an Arctic blast brought incredibly cold temperatures to the U.S. This comes as the polar vortex pushed frigid air deep into the country. It also shows just how much weather can change over a short time. First Alert meteorologist Spencer Blum is live in studio to explain more about the polar vortex. Spencer.
Thanks, Garrett. Every now and then, the U.S. sees a blast of intense Arctic air surging southward, bringing dangerous and frigid temperatures to tens of millions of people. Now, behind me, you're looking at video from the historic deep freeze that led to widespread blackouts in Texas a few years ago. Now, oftentimes these events are caused by disturbances in the polar vortex, and the polar vortex is a persistent area of low pressure containing very cold air high above the poles. But sometimes waves lower in the atmosphere can interfere with the polar vortex and cause it to wobble, just like you can see in this graphic behind me.
And when it does, it brings a lot of cold Arctic air down towards the mid-latitudes, and our jet stream starts to meander in this wave-like pattern, producing these troughs and ridges. So cold air moves towards the south, and warm air from the south starts moving towards the poles.
But how come Southern California never feels the impacts of these Arctic blasts? Well, it's important to remember that the jet stream moves in waves, and if we look at the graphic behind me, we can see where the cold air plunges southward over the U.S. and where the warm air moves toward the poles. California sits in that ridge, which shields us from that frigid weather. And these events happen irregularly, but we thankfully only tend to see one or two of these events every few years. Meanwhile, here in Southern California, we are tracking some unusually warm temperatures as highs are set to exceed 90 degrees this week. Live in studio, Spencer Blum, News Channel 3.